Greetings all, a Randy of all trades back again. As you may know by now, I am packing to move down to Orlando, Florida, and I've just been putting my board games in boxes, and it got me thinking, I haven't done any board game videos yet. So I want to start off my board game videos with a top 5 list. These are not just any top 5, these are specifically the top 5 board games for your friends who aren't really into board games. First up, we have Pit. Pit is a game where you corner the stock market on one of a number of commodity crops, which sounds boring. But trust me, the game itself is actually really fun. It gets really loud and it devolves into madness because it actually imitates the stock market. So everything is happening in real time, lots of shouting, lots of finger waving. It's a great game. At its heart, Pit is a very easy game to understand. You're basically trying to corner the market by collecting all of one commodity crop. Now there's 9 cards of each suit that you're trying to collect, whether you're collecting oranges or wheat. But once you're the first one to collect all 9, all of the shouting finally stops when you ring the bell in triumphant victory. I would recommend this game for almost anyone, young to old, as long as you enjoy camaraderie, especially if you're in larger groups, and especially if you love shouting, because this game gets loud. This game is so loud that even the box is loud. So next up is a game very similar to Pit, but I love it because all you really need to play are a deck of cards, and I call it spoons, so I use spoons, but anything easy to grab is going to do just fine. So to play spoons, you have to get 1 less spoon than the number of people playing. If you have 4 players, grab 3 spoons. Place the spoons in the middle where everyone can reach them, and then everybody gets 4 cards in their hand. Starting with one person, you pick up 1 card at a time, and then pass a card to the next player. And that slowly starts to speed up or sometimes slow down depending on the players. And your whole goal is to get 4 of a kind. First person to get 4 of a kind just grabs a spoon off the table and gameplay stops. And everyone can fight over the remaining spoons. The person who doesn't have a spoon is eliminated and you keep going until there is one victor. Now this game, like Pit, does get rambunctious, but this one tends to get a little more violent, whereas Pit tends to get a little more loud. So that's really the big distinction here. Now, the next game is one of my all-time favorite games, and I like it even though I love board games. But those people who don't like board games are still going to find a lot of fun in Masquerade. Masquerade is a game where you're never sure of your own identity, but you definitely don't want anyone else to be sure of your identity. And your whole goal is to use whatever powers you have, whether you're bluffing who you are and using their powers, or actually know who you are and using their powers, to gain up to 13 coins. First one to 13 wins. It's really just a game of constant confusion and lying to your friends as much as possible. Now this game has some of the most beautiful artwork I've seen in a board game. All the cards, there's these pieces, a nice beautiful bank, everything's on both sides. All the coins are beautiful. So this game is going to be great for artists or to show anybody who thinks board games are just Monopoly and sorry, that this is a true art form. As well as a great game for just anyone who loves communicating with people at the table. It's not about what's on the table, it's about what's in front of you and who's in front of you. And I think that because of that, the bluffing doesn't actually get violent. It gets nerve-wracking. And nobody's ever really sure who's on top at any point in the game. Now, next up, we have a highly awarded, highly recommended board game, which I'm sure you've probably even heard of, Ticket to Ride. Ticket to Ride is pretty much just about building the most and best, the longest railroad across continental US. They do have other iterations for other countries as well, but the point of the whole game is really just simple. You collect cards to build the railroad, and whoever gets the most amount of points at the end wins. But it's incredibly fun. There's a lot of ways to screw each other up, And there's definitely a lot of ways to steal things from out under people without even knowing that that's their plan. So this game is definitely fun for children of all ages. You can play with the young ones because it's very simple to learn. You can play with the older ones who like to try and guess where you're going and pull out roads from under you. But I think it's the most fun with the most amount of people. It plays up to 5, and when there's 5 people on the board, it gets crowded and it gets fun. So the last game on my top 5 list has got to be the one I've played the most in recent years. And honestly, the one I just laugh the most when I play. My cheeks always hurt. And that is Telestrations. Now, Telestrations is a game that involves drawing, but you do not have to be good at drawing. In fact, the game gets more fun when you suck at drawing. Stick figures and arrows is all I use. And it's honestly because of the time pressure. There's a lot of scribbling that happens real fast because of time. The object of the game, well, aside from laughing your butt off, is really just to see if you can play the game telephone or whisper down the lane, but with drawings and words. So you start off in a little booklet writing down a secret word, and then every page you flip over, you draw the word and you pass it to the next person. They look at that photo and they have to guess what the word was. And then they pass it to the next person. And then they have to draw what that person's guess was. And you can see how this is slowly just going to devolve, especially if you're a bad artist. And by the end, you might end up drawing Hobo Wolverine.
This is the story of how we got from plastic surgery and ended up with Munchkinland West Side Story.
Honestly, this game, aside from being for anyone, I think is definitely going to be a great substitute for Cards Against Humanity. Cards Against Humanity has definitely been brought out a lot, especially in the 20-somethings. We all own it, and we all play it to death. This will make you laugh so much harder, and it's just drawing and writing. It's not even a lot of work. Now, I love board games way too much to leave it at that. So, I do have one more honorable mention because it didn't make this list for a specific reason. Hanabi. Hanabi is a game of fireworks and honor. That's right. You play a bunch of absent-minded pyrotechnicians, and your job is to reconstruct the entire fireworks show from scratch. Now, what's cool about this game is that you're not looking at your own hand. Everyone else sees it. They can give you clues about what's in it, but you're still guessing. And you could potentially blow everybody up with a wrong guess. The reason this didn't make the list is honestly just because it does require a little bit of problem solving. If you love puzzles and you don't like board games, you're gonna love this game. I played this game with a friend who absolutely abhors board games, and 2 days later he was owning it. Honestly, the rules to this game are fairly simple. It's really just about the fact that you haven't seen your cards that makes it difficult. All you have to do is construct 5 different colored fireworks that are numerical from 1 to 5. And that's it. But when you don't see your own hand, things get really crazy. So, if you like board games, have you played any of these with people who don't like board games? Did they enjoy them? Or if you don't like board games, have any of these sparked your interest? Let me know in the comments down below what you think. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and come back every Wednesday for more Randy of All Trades.